why not? Why not? Okay, so firstly, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for coming today, and especially to Jane. But luckily Jane's got a special parking space at the front, which is quite good. Little blue number for you. Anyway, Jane, I'm going to start by saying, can you hear me, Jane? Jane, hello, it's me, Simon, your brother.
I hate you.
You okay? Well, afternoon. Jane has asked me to say a few words today, but being a bloke and being Jane's brother, I decided obviously today isn't the time or the place to embarrass her. I'll leave that to my good friend Rick. So Jane, I decided to do a little research and found that your name actually dates back to Tudor times. And they say that the name itself packs quite a punch as compared to related Jean or Joan. But as you're really old now, I was thinking as a present maybe changing your name by default to Joan, because it sort of suits that kind of age bracket.
Simon.
Anyway, Jane has been around. Jane has actually been around, well, not Jane herself, but Jane, well, I don't know, you maybe. Jane's been around since Tudor times. I know she looks good for her age, but at one point Jane was so common that it actually became generic, as in Jane Doe. Just before Jane was born, 1935, there are actually 8,900 Janes born in the USA alone. Jane is actually the 87th most popular name, wedged between Todd and Roger. But sadly, Todd and Roger were too embarrassed to come today. So I decided to look at other famous Janes. So I looked through the list and I thought, well, there's obviously Jane Seymour, Jane Fonda, Jane Austen. And then I thought, no, these are all a bit too highbrow. So I decided to do some more digging. Went a bit lower and I went, Peter and Jane. And I thought, yeah, sort of heading that way. And then I went, American version. I went, Dick and Jane. But I thought, don't go there, steady. So Tarzan and Jane. So I'm thinking, yeah, okay, we're heading in that direction. Now I thought to myself, we are getting a lot closer. Then bingo. My eureka moment had finally realised that Mum and Dad had named this little bund of fun after the one and only Calamity Jane. So, you may laugh at this comment, but to be fair, yes, Jane has had a few calamities in her life. But interesting, Calamity Jane was said to have shown extreme kindness and compassion to others, especially to the sick and needy. She was also known for wearing men's clothing. But what Jane does in her spare time is her own business. Anyway, I'm not going to stand here and dig any deeper. All I know is that there's never a dull moment with you, Jane, on your little roller coaster of life, and I'm not prepared to get off yet. So it's great to see so many familiar faces from her past, and one who she's met recently, and Bob from the village who she dragged up here. So anyway, I'd like you all to raise your glasses and wish my old duffer sister a happy birthday. Yeah, you're going to be really nervous now.
Building on that theme, I first saw Jane peeping mischievously from behind a tree in a photograph on the wall of my dear friend Simon. And in fact, John, earlier on, when you graciously showed me the painting in your study of Jane innocently peeking behind a tree. And let me take you back. That was 1986. When I first met my good man here, Simon, my very, very, very best friend. And this was Loughborough University, where we were both studying art at art college.
Studying art.
And Simon came into the fold of misery and excitement that was called Iffley House. Almost Animal House, for those that can appreciate that fine film. And we studied together, And I said, Simon, she looks a bit okay. And I can remember these words very, very clearly. I said, Simon, yes. And he went, Rick, no. Never. Ever, ever, ever. No.
Simply.
And that was it, simply. I didn't really appreciate that until much later on. So we studied together, and Jane didn't really come up, and Jane, you didn't really come to Loughborough that much, but we sort of carried on and we did our studies, and as graduates we had our time and we went away. Some years later we'd graduated and gone our separate ways, and I thought, fancy a good weekend. And I wanted to get hold of Simon, and I was flicking through some old books and things, and I came across a number. I thought, yeah, I'll just give him a call. And randomly, as John can attest, I called this number, and I got through, and John answered the phone. And if I'd have called 5 minutes later, I'd have missed you, because you were just picking up the post, because you'd moved out of the, was it Oddington? Yeah, Oddington house. And I got hold of Simon. I got hold of you, and you gave me Simon's number, and we were back together again. Little did I know what I had done, especially related to Jane. And so I got hold of Simon, and I was working and doing a different job and travelling around the country, and I particularly remember this. I'd had a hard week. I've been travelling up and down the country selling software, and I was at the I think I was at the NEC, and I was at the NEC, and I was in a Forte hotel. I had a really, really, really hard week, and there I was. If you can picture the scene, I was relaxing, and I had a hard day, and I had a beer, and spoken to Simon. We're going to go out at the weekend, and put down the phone. 10 minutes later, the phone rings. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, yeah, is that Mr. Mears? Yeah. Well, this is reception here. I'd just like to have a conversation with you, because I've noticed on your particular account quite a high usage of the porn channel. And knowing that you're staying in the hotel, and appreciating that you're on a corporate rate, I just need to make you aware that this will be a fully itemised bill. I blustered. I was just flicking.
That's what they call it.
Through the channels. Silence. And then a snigger. And hi, this is Jane, Simon's sister. Oh. The campaign had begun. So we had some good times, and I moved to Cheltenham, and there's far too many occasions where abuse was levered at me at every possible opportunity, including one day when I was particularly busy trying to cut a deal, and the phone rang, and a gentleman called Mike Oxbig tried to call me for a job interview, again generated by Jane. Now Jane, I know over the years I've been the subject of abuse through you to me, and I've become part of the family, as it were, so to speak, and I'm very grateful for that, and I really am. And speaking of family, I think it's fair to say that it's a good time to remember that those that can't be with us, Margaret and Richard, will be looking upon us today, also thinking about how I've suffered at your expense, enjoying, occasions like this. Recently, and those of you that have known me through the years, when I lived with Simon here, I enjoyed a time at a local charitable trust that looks after a steam railway, and that's at Toddington. And Jane and I have been to see the engine that I've been restoring for the last 30 odd years, and they've recently put that back on the tracks, and the engine's in fantastic order. So I invited Jane to spend the time with me to enjoy the day and see the train back in action. So I agreed with Jane. The the night before.
No. Calamity.
Yeah,
Jane.
no. I'd agreed with Jane the night before that I would meet her at 9:30 to fully enjoy the day. To fully enjoy the day.
Morning.
To fully enjoy the day, meeting all the celebrities that were coming together. And we're going to, in fact, Pete Waterman, you know, the music impresario. To fully enjoy the day, to see everybody, to look at the engine, to see what's going on. And so I dutifully left Fleet in Hampshire, some 2 hours away, to be at Jane's at 9:30. There I was, 9:30, knock, knock, knock. Cars in the driveway. Okay, good, okay. Knock, knock, knock. Nothing. I'll just give her a call. Ring. Jane, this is Rick. I'm outside your house. It's 9:30. We're in the room for a couple of hours. Kind of desperate. Knock, knock, knock. Come on, look. The time's pressing on now. Okay. Simon. Yeah, Simon's bound to know. Called you.
Yep.
Called you. 10 o'clock. Hey, is Jane okay? Rick, no. What's going on? No, Jane's doing her own thing.
Jane's Jane.
No, Simon, no. The car's in the driveway. Nothing seems to be out of order. Rick, it's her
Jane.
line. It's
It's
Jane.
Jane.
It's Jane. Just carry on. Ring. Anyway, some 1.5 hours later, after 8 calls and about 60 knocks on the door, I gave up. I did. I got to get there. I got to the train. I got to be part of that day. Drove past a race course and the conscience bit me. No, I've got to go. I can't do that. I'll give it one more go. So I drove all the way back round. Knock, 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 knock. Eventually, the chain. I can hear the chain. Click, click, click. Oh, Rick. Oh. Blue dressing gown, hair out here. Blurry-eyed Jane goes, "Oh, what time is it? Is it 9 o'clock? Jane, it's 11 o'clock. Oh, it's your fault. You should have knocked louder. I've got earplugs in." Somehow it was my fault. But that's just the Jane that I know and love. So, all I can say is, I will be the butt of your jokes for the next 50 years. But as a brother-type person, I love you, I love your family, and I wish you the happiest 50th birthday that you and everybody here can possibly have. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for those that can't be with us today, please raise your glasses and say happy birthday to that lovely woman.
I just want to say, I'm not good at speeches, so I'm just going to say thank you very much everybody for coming. I've really enjoyed you being here. Thank you for my poor father who's had to give his garden up to you all. He's had a 3-day bender basically from what I understand. And he's had guests from 40 people last night to 20 odd the night before and played golf and everything. So yes, thank you very much for having us all in the garden. I appreciate it. Yeah, you can put the phone down.